So the reason most people fail on Airbnb is because most people think that Airbnb is the business. But that mindset is the exact reason why most people fail in 2025, and it's only going to get worse in 2026. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly why that way of thinking is wrong and honestly outdated. And I'm going to introduce you to a way of thinking that's going to significantly propel you ahead of your competitors in 2026. Okay? Because Airbnb isn't actually your business. Airbnb is simply a channel for you to distribute your product. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is how you truly want to view the business, okay? So Airbnb isn't your business. Airbnb is simply a channel to distribute your product, your house, okay? So Airbnb is a means of distribution, a channel of distribution, and your product is your house. And the goal for any business with a product is to get their product in front of as many people as possible. It's to get it in front of as many distribution channels as possible so that the products, your house, gets reserved at the highest possible rate for as much as possible, at the highest possible rate for the most days possible. And once you look at it like this, everything changes, because the goal isn't to just master one platform or one means of distribution. The goal is to master multiple means of distribution so that your product gets utilized as much as possible. So an example would be if you're selling a product online. Would it only make sense to just put it on Amazon? No, you want to put it on Shopify, eBay, have your own website as well. Same thing goes for this business model. You have a product and you want to get it on as many channels as possible so you can make the most money possible. So the real business is how effectively can you market your product on as many channels as possible. So this is where the term multi-channel comes into place. Using multiple channels, websites, to distribute your product, your house. So now that we have this fundamental understanding, so the next question then becomes, what are the right channels and how do you set them up without having to manage multiple channels at the same time and really just losing your mind? And stick with me to the end of the video because I actually have some breaking news about why this is the most important understanding that you can have in 2025 and how it can genuinely make you thousands of dollars in 2026. I'm going to explain all of that right before the end of the video. So let's talk about it. Now that we have this understanding, this is where something like a PMS or a property management systems comes into play. Okay, so quick side note, what is a property management system and how does it actually work? A property management system basically allows you to sync up your calendars on all the different channels like Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, and all these other ones, these newer ones that I'm going to tell you about in a second. And you can sync your calendar, sync your pricing, sync all of your messaging automations. That way you can have one centralized hub for all the channels that your product has been distributed on. And a quick bonus, and this is where it gets really powerful. So you can actually set pricing deviations across different platforms. In case one platform you charge a little bit more than the other. So you can actually set it where on Vrbo your pricing automatically 15 or 20% higher than it would be on Airbnb, and Vrbo is about 5 or 10% lower. I'm going to tell you why that's relevant in a second. But with a good property management system, it will give you complete control and allows you to be multi-channel significantly easier. So now the question is, how do you set it up? So most PMS systems actually make it very easy to set up. All you have to do is create the account on the channel and you simply just log into it via the PMS system, and then it's a simple connection. It will probably take you like 5 or 10 minutes. If you want me to make a step-by-step tutorial on how you can set this up on multiple channels, so comment down below and I'd be more than happy to create a video for you. So now let's talk about all the best channels or distribution methods that you want to be on so that your listing is positioned in the most powerful way. So aside from, of course, Airbnb, you also have channels like Vrbo. You have channels like Booking.com, Google Vacation Rentals, and you actually also have newer ones that are just starting to pop up like Whimstay, and this is for last minute stays, and another one like BringFidal, excuse me. I'm all over the place here. So BringFidal, here we go. So now you can actually start seeing how this fundamentally changes the business, because now you just don't have an Airbnb business. You have this product and now you have all this means of distribution for your product. So now that you have an understanding of kind of how you should be looking and structuring your business, I want to give you more of a visual of what this should look like in terms of how you want to operate and structure your business, okay? So like I said before, initially what you had was just Airbnb. So Airbnb was the business. I'm gonna stand up and get into my teacher mode now, just so I can actually hit this home. So what you used to have is Airbnb, and most people would just list on Airbnb and that's it. Now what we've learned is that we have a product, and the goal of the product is to put it on as many channels as possible. Airbnb still being the biggest, but it's just one of the channels. And then here you have VRBO, and you have Booking.com, Google, Vacation Rentals. I'm just gonna write this. Bring Fido, and then Wimstay. Okay, so this is the channels. These are the channels that you have. So where property management system comes in is right here. Okay, property management system. And what that does is it connects. I'll use another color for this, just so it could be a little bit extra for you. So it connects to all the different channels. Okay, and it adjusts the pricing and the calendar. So this is how you can manage multiple channels without losing your mind. Now, what I want you to think about is, okay, how do you not change the pricing for all of these? Because initially what you had was simply just having your pricing, you change all your pricing on Airbnb. But now, let's say in your market, which it's happened for a lot of my listings as well, my verbal reservations tend to be about 10 to 15% higher than on Airbnb. But if I only change it on Airbnb, I wouldn't be able to change it on verbal. Or if there was a weekend where there was Taylor Swift coming to town, I'd have to go on both and change them manually. And now if I have like 5 or even 10 channels, I would lose my mind. What you can do is you can set pricing deviations on your property management system to automatically set it so that verbal is 10-15% higher, Wimstay is a percent higher or lower, Booking.com is a percent higher or lower. That way you don't have to kind of manually go in there. And another thing I want you to look at, so this is where a property management system comes in. And a little bonus that I want to give you guys, I'm giving away bonuses today, is what you want to have is you want to have a pricing tool. In 2025 and entering 2026, if you don't have a pricing tool for your business, then you're leaving such a significant amount of money on the table that I'm honestly wondering how you're still performing, honestly speaking, with all due respect. But you want to have a pricing tool that's going to adjust your pricing so that you don't have to spend hours every single day kind of tinkering with things. This tool does all of that for you. And how this tool ties into all of this is that you can connect this tool to your pricing, to your property management system, and it can distribute all the prices amongst all the channels. This way, you can set up a price here, it connects to your property management system, and the property management system can set pricing deviations on all your channels. And then which allows you to then get the most amount of money for your product. I hope this fundamental way of thinking has opened another channel of revenue for you, but not only that, has opened another level of thinking and understanding of how this business truly works. Okay, so if you stay this long, I have some very, very important news for you. So for the last decade, Airbnb has had a significant market share, I hope you can see this, of over 50% year over year. Like they've had a gigantic market share on the short-term rental space. As of this year, they've now dipped below 44%. So they've gone from 100% to 90% to 70%. Now they're at 44%. Whereas companies like Booking.com now has 15% of the market share. So what is happening is that Airbnb is actually losing its market strength in the short-term rental space, and people are now going into different channels to be able to book their stay. So what that means for you is that if you are only solely relying on Airbnb, you're obviously going to see a deduction in bookings, in revenue, and in just entire market reservations for Airbnb. And this is what can lead to people saying Airbnb is dying, Airbnb is dead. Because by that they mean that short-term rentals or the entire concept is dying. But no, it's just Airbnb's market strength has dropped, and all these other platforms have been able to increase their market share to be able to get more bookings. And that's why it's so important to be multi-channel in 2025 and 2026. And another bonus I want to give you as to why this is actually happening is because you have companies like VRBO and Booking.com that are paying in advertising, in marketing. They're even going to companies and giving those companies incentives to get their employees to book the stays on their platform. So very recently, Verbal made an ad for the Super Bowl, and what that did is it increased reservations on Verbal by, I believe, 20 or even 30%. So if you had a listing, just having a listing on Verbal would have increased your reservations by 20 or 30%. Now, if you're in a market where your Verbal listings, because of price deviation, is about 10 to 15% more, you'd have received 30% more bookings on VRBO at a 15% higher price point just from listing your place on VRBO. You don't even have to do anything. You don't have to pay for VRBO. It's the same. It's a very similar platform to Airbnb. Just by listing it here, you would have received more reservations for a higher nightly rate per reservations. And a lot of companies are starting to do this now. A very cool concept is Bring Fido, which is a pet-friendly stay. So essentially, people with dogs and animals who want to book vacation rentals, they can book through Bring Fido, and they run advertising to people who are looking to travel with pets. So just by having a listing on Bring Fido and having a listing that does allow pets, you now have an extra channel for that, and you can increase the price deviation for this for 10-15%. So this is how you should be looking at your business in 2025 and even more so in 2026, that is going to set you so far ahead of your competitors that everybody will be wondering why you're so successful. I hope this video is very, very valuable to you, and you got a new fundamental understanding of how you can just honestly make more money and redesign your entire business structure. Or if you're somebody on the fence about this, you've learned something new that hopefully gets you a little bit more excited. This means that the short-term rental market is expanding and it's evolving. And if you understand this, which is not honestly as complicated as you think, like I said, once you have a property management system, connecting these can take, once you have this property management system, connecting this can take 10-15 minutes each, and you only have to connect it once, and you can monitor them anytime that you want. But this will make you significantly more money on your listing, and it will allow you to grow significantly faster. So this is why most people have failed in 2025, because they didn't understand this, and this is why you're going to make a lot more money than most people in 2026. If you want to watch my video on if I was starting over and how I would be able to scale my business from 0 to $10,000 a month within 6 months, I will have the description of that video down below. And if you want to join my free community where we discuss things like this almost every single day, and we have weekly live conversation just about Airbnb, then the link for that Skool community will be down below. Completely free community. Join. We talk about Airbnb, we talk about business, and we talk about just winning and succeeding. So I hope you found value in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.